Good morning, Ian Crouch with your 8:30 Hunter News update. Hunter nurses have joined their colleagues across the state in a 24-hour strike. They're demanding a one-year 15% pay rise. The state government says it's disappointed the union has walked away from an agreement to cease industrial action. The Nurses and Midwives Association argues there's been no progress during 4 weeks of negotiations. Hunter water crews have commenced major repairs to a sewer main in Hamilton, which is expected to cause traffic disruptions for several days. A 15-metre section of sewer line has collapsed, forcing the closure of the westbound lanes of Donald Street between Lawson and Beaumont Streets for the next 10 days. Crews will be working around the clock to remove and replace the damaged section, and there are local diversions in place. Hunter MP Dan Repicoli will be meeting with Queensland residents from today as part of the parliamentary inquiry into nuclear energy. Public hearings will be held at 3 locations, including Brisbane, as the House Select Committee looks to hear how residents would feel about having a nuclear reactor in their community. The coalition is looking to construct 7 reactors on the sites of coal-fired power stations if it wins the next election. Dan Repicoli says they'll be asking a lot of questions around the time frame needed to head up a reactor.
Because that's one of the biggest concerns that we have is the time frame of actually getting these done in time before the coal-fired power stations come to their end of life. So that'll be a big thing that I'll be asking questions around.
Inspectors from the Building Commission have descended on Newcastle to undertake random inspections of electrical work. They inspected 108 electrical installations across the city, finding 28 where the work was not compliant. Inspectors handed out 14 fines for problems including the installation of a prohibited circuit breaker, unsupervised electrical work, unlicensed contracting, and a lack of builder signage at work sites. The Commission is also investigating 2 cases involving alleged improper conduct and supervision failures. Residents and workers in the Rutherford area have reported an earth tremor this morning. Nick is at work and has told Todd Sargent the building started shaking just after 7 o'clock.
I think we've just had an earthquake. The roof, like the purlin started rattling for about probably 5-6 seconds.
Okay.
And it's a massive building, and a few of the boys were like, what's that?
Geoscience Australia says they've received a number of felt reports from the Rutherford area this morning, but there was no earthquake. The number of trips on the Newcastle and Hunter train line are up more than 20% year on year, according to Opal Card data. There's been a 12% increase in passengers using light rail, while the Stockton ferry only saw a slight increase. Meanwhile, IPART has decided to leave the cost of fares on the Stockton ferry as is. It was considering a 7% increase, but agreed with submissions from Newcastle Council, saying the ferry is the only viable transport option for people living in northern areas to get to the city, instead of using cars for a long road trip.
2NURFM Sport.
Night utility Phoenix Crossland has paid tribute to his late grandmother following his completion of the Pacific Championships campaign with New Zealand. Crossland farewelled Doreen on Thursday, 3 days before being a part of the Kiwis' promotion-relegation playoff win over Papua New Guinea on Sunday. Meanwhile, Knight centre Anaru Tuala has signed with the Bulldogs on a 2-season deal. Tuala spent 5 seasons at Newcastle after joining from North Queensland in 2020 and made 87 appearances for the club. Newcastle baseball player Rickson Wingrove will represent Australia tonight when they take on Japan in the Baseball Premier 12 competition. Following tonight, they will play the Dominican Republic, Chinese Taipei, South Korea and Cuba in hopes of qualifying to the Super Round. And Macarthur assistant coach Christoph Garmel, who assaulted Jets goalkeeper Ryan Scott, has had his suspension upgraded to 6 matches. That's sport. I'm Jessie Dennett.
And the winning numbers in Oz Lotto are 5, 10, 14, 16, 28, 30 and 34, and the supplementaries are 9, 19 and 23. And now you're up to date with the latest 2NURFM Hunter News.